I'd like to be from Alabama today, but I'm not. Oh, okay. No problem. Put that right here. All right, they've asked me to take the button off. That only makes the point. There might not be a button on it. It's 122 people with DACA lose their protection from deportation. They lose their government-issued identification that allowed them to stay in this country and work legally. DACA is the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, and the president ended in September, and which will completely expire in March. But let's be clear, people don't have until March. People are already losing their DACA coverage on a daily basis. So when reporters and politicians say that Congress can stall until March to enact the DREAM Act, they're just flat wrong. We cannot wait until March. The DREAM Act and the protections of the DACA program are not light switches, which we can turn on and off. Every day we delay the passage of the DREAM Act, another 122 DACA recipients lose their status. They go from being documented to being undocumented, and the worlds are turned upside down. And it is not just their lives, but the lives of American citizens who love them, who employ them, and who rely on them. Young dreamers came forward and reported to the Department of Homeland Security and paid their own money for a criminal background check by the FBI. In fact, many of them have successfully completed their paperwork and biometrics 3 times. They paid all of this processing, the paperwork, the background checks, the fingerprints, with their own money. By definition, they arrived in the United States as children, and by definition, they arrived at least 10 years ago, a year and a half before Obama even got sworn in as president. There are 800,000 of them, 800,000 young Americans who have been playing by the rules, doing everything their government has asked them to do, and who have been living productive lives in communities in every state of the union. As of today, more than 12,000 have lost their DACA status and protection. Let me tell you about a few of them. Tyrone owns 3 businesses. He lives in Washington State and has lived in the U.S. since he was 11 years old. His DACA expires on December 22nd, the day after the CR is set to expire and the day we're all supposed to go home, return to our families for a Christmas holiday and New Year's. He submitted his DACA renewal well before the application deadline that was arbitrarily set for last October, but he made a mistake. His check was for $465, not the $495, so he will be deportable as of December 22nd. His entire life in the United States, and yet if Republicans and the presidents have their way, he will be sent back to Honduras. And his 3 businesses and those that work there, who knows what will happen to them. Another DACA recipient named Saul is from California, and thanks to the security and stability provided by DACA, he has pursued a career in education. I was a teacher, and I know that the monetary rewards are few, but the rewards for your soul are many, and the rewards to our society of having dedicated teachers is just priceless. But without DACA and without the DREAM Act, Saul has no future in teaching, and we may squander the passion he would bring to a classroom. His DACA expires on December 29th, and this is anything but a Merry Christmas for him as we drag our feet here in the Congress of the United States. And finally, there's Brittany in New York. She's a child care provider who works with infant twins, one of whom has a severe health condition. Her employers are now scrambling because Brittany's DACA expired last Thursday, and she has no clear legal path forward. The family said, "We are devastated at the thought she may not be able to work in this country. And we know we won't find another caregiver who is as reliable, nurturing, and unshakable as Brittany." Most Americans don't understand why taking away legal status from a child care provider who is employed and cherished and loved by her employers will somehow create law and order. How does creating more undocumented immigrants help? It doesn't make America great. It does not even strengthen security or our economy. I don't even think it benefits the Republican Party politically to send young American women like her away. But it's up to Republicans and Democrats to stand up for Brittany, Saul, and Myron. Democrats must be clear that we value the contributions of these young people and will not allow their stories to be ignored. And Republicans, even the brave ones who have said that they are for solving the plight of the DACA kids, must do more than write a letter or whisper quietly in the halls that they hope something happens. It's up to us right now. And I'm not leaving, and I'm not shutting up until we do. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me make sure before I leave, I can put my button back on. It's 122. And thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would love to have been from Alabama. I'm from Illinois today. Thank you.
Gentleman yields back his time. Chair recognizes